Before 1995, the name of the Java program was OAK. What is compiled and what is interpreted? So dear student, these two things are called as translator or language translator. If I want to create multiple inheritance in Java, then I'm going to use the concept called interface. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on Introduction to Java. I am Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with the introduction about Java. So dear student, at the beginning, I'm going to have Java evolution. So dear student, the Java was first introduced in the year 1991. Now tell me who introduced Java program. So here the Java programming language was introduced by the James Gosling. So who is the author of Java? That is none other than James Gosling in the year 1991. And where he introduced this Java programming language, that is Microsoft system. So here the Java is generally known as general purpose programming language. That means this Java programming language is mainly used to design and develop general purpose applications as well as special purpose applications. For that reason, it is known as general purpose programming language, as well as it is also known by the name object-oriented programming language. That means in Java, everything is treated as classes as well as object. For that reason, it is also known by the name object-oriented programming language. And it is developed by Sun Microsystem in the year 1991. And who is the father of Java? That is none other than James Gosling. So dear student, before 1995, the name of the Java program was OAK. So what is the first name of Java program? That is OAK. And in the year 1995, the Oracle Corporation is going to incorporate Java program. In that time, they are going to rename this OAK as Java. So in the year 1995, the actual Java programming language came into the picture. Now, this Java is mainly designed to develop interactive television. So, why this Java program is introduced? It is mainly introduced to develop interactive televisions. For that reason, they introduced Java programming. So, the main goal of developing Java is to make the language simple, portable and highly reliable. Now, the question arises here that when we have C as well as C++, then also why we require Java program. So here Java is mainly introduced to develop simple and portable as well as reliable applications. Then what kind of application I can able to develop by using Java programming language? That is nothing but standalone applications, Windows applications, mobile applications, as well as enterprise applications. To develop all these kinds of application, I'm going to use Java program. Now, the most important feature of the language is that platform neutral language. So here Java programming language is also called by the name platform neutral language. So what is this platform neutral language? There's nothing but platform independent language. Now, dear student, if I consider C or C++ programming language, they are known as platform dependent language. And if I consider Java, it is treated as platform neutral language. So, dear student, these are the evolution of Java. Now, tell me what are the points you have to remember here, that is when this Java came into picture, that is in the year 1991. After that, which point you have to remember, that is who is the father of this Java? That is none other than Jens Gosling. Along with that, where it is developed, that is Sun Microsystem. And what is the first name of Java program? That is OAC. Now, which are the another points you have to remember here? That it is incorporated by the Oracle Corporation in the year 1995, and it was renamed by the name Java. So here Java is general purpose as well as object oriented programming language, and it is also called by the name platform neutral language. Now, dear student, let me to explain the features of Java. So here, as I know, Java is general purpose as well as object oriented programming, and it's also known by the name platform independent programming language, and each Java program will have certain features. In that, first I'm going to have compiled and interpreted. So what is compiled and what is interpreted? So dear student, these two things are called as translator or language translator. Now, computers are able to understand only machine language, that is 0 and 1. And whatever the program I'm going to write, that is in the form of high level programming language. Now, I want to convert this high level programming language into machine level. For that, I required translator. And if I consider Java program, Java supports compiler as well as interpreter. Because if I consider Java program, here we are going to encounter the concept called bytecode. So it is bytecode, and this bytecode itself called intermediate code. Now, in Java, we have compiler as well as interpreter. But if I consider other programming languages like C or C++, we may have compiler or interpreter. But in Java, I'm going to have compiler as well as interpreter. So here, Java compiler translates source code to a byte code. So here, Java compiler is responsible for translating Java program into byte code. So this byte code is not machine code. So dear student, just remember this point that this byte code is not machine code. Now I want to convert this byte code into machine code. For that reason, I'm going to use interpreter. So here I'm going to use two translators. One is compiler and one is interpreter. And I'm going to use compiler to convert Java program into byte code. And I'm going to use interpreter to translate byte code into machine instruction or machine code. Now, the another feature of Java program is that platform independent and portable. So dear student, just remember this point that the platform independent is also known as platform neutral language. Now let me to consider two type of processor, that is Intel and I have AMD processor. So what is this AMD? That is advanced micro device processor. Now, if I consider C program or C++ program, okay, I have two processor and I'm going to write C program for this Intel processor. And after compiling this program, I'm going to copy that program into AMD processor. Now tell me, is it possible to run same program in AMD processor? The answer here is no. Without modifying the code, I cannot able to run the same C program in AMD processor. So what I want to do? I want to make smaller modification. So that is known as machine dependent. I repeat, it is known as machine dependent programming language. And if I consider Java program, that means I'm going to write the Java program for Intel processor. And I'm going to copy same program and I'm going to run in AMD processor. Without making any modification, I can able to run same program in Intel processor as well as AMD processor. So this is the beauty of Java program. That means Java program is machine independent. Why it is called machine independent? Because it will have its own nature, that is byte code. So this byte code is called intermediate code. For the byte code, all the Java programs are known as platform independent and it's also known as portable. So what is portable here? I can able to carry the program from one platform to another platform without making any modification. So this is the very important feature of Java program. So here Java guarantees portability in two ways, that is Java compiler generates bytecode instruction. So here Java compiler is going to generate bytecode instructions that can be implemented on any machine. So here Java program is going to generate intermediate result and it's known as bytecode, and this bytecode is capable to run in any machines. The size of the primitive data types are machine independent. So the size of the data type. So what is the meaning of data type here? There's nothing but the type used to identify the particular kind of data, and it's going to vary from one system to another. That means based on the system configuration, the type of the data is going to vary. So for these two things, the Java is known as platform independent. Now, the another feature here is object oriented. So, dear student, what is object oriented? Suppose if I want to represent real world problems, then I'm going to use object oriented concept. So, here objects are nothing but the instance of the class. And why I'm going to use class? To represent real world problem. And if I consider class, it has its own attributes as well as property. Now, let me to consider this board. Now, the size of the board is one property. The length of the board is another property. The weight of the board is also another attribute, or the weight of the board is also another attribute. So here everything in Java is an object. All program codes and data resides within objects and classes. So if I go with object oriented concept, then all the codes as well as data are resides in the objects as well as classes, and the objects in Java is simple and easy to extend. Now the another feature of Java is robust and secure. So here Java is also known as robust and secure programming language. Now Java is robust language that provides safeguards to ensure reliable code. If I consider Java program, it supports encapsulation. It supports exception handling. That means if I want to handle the error, I can able to handle the error very effectively and very beautifully. And if I want to control the flow of data, or if I want to provide the security, once again I can able to use Java. So here Java is robust with respect to safeguards to ensure reliable code, and it has strict compile time as well as runtime checking for data types. That means if I consider Java program, then I can able to check the type of data in two ways. One is compile time and another one is runtime. That means I'm going to check the type of the data at the beginning itself, and in certain times if I miss to check the type of the data at the beginning, then I can able to check the type of the data during execution or during runtime. Java also includes the concept of exception handling. So what is this exception handling? That is error handling. For example, if I divide this number by 0, I'm going to get the logical error. Now, to manage this error in Java, I have some exception classes as well as exception methods. Now, the another feature of Java is distributed. So, dear student, please make a note here. Java is also known as internet language. So, what is internet language here? That is Java programming language. When I say it is internet language, then I have distributed system as well as distributed applications. So here, what is the meaning of distributed? That means the things are carried out at the different locations under different platform. So here Java is designed as a distributed language for creating applications on network. That means if Java is internet language, then I must require network connection. And it has the ability to share both the data as well as programs. Java application can open and access remote objects on internet. That means I can able to use Java application to access the data or objects which is present remotely. So this is another feature of Java program. Now, the another feature I have here is simple, small and familiar. So dear student, to study or to learn Java program, you does not require any other programming knowledge, because this Java program is very simple and very easy to understand and very easy to learn. So here Java is simple and small language. Many features of C and C++ that are either redundant or source of unreliable code are not part of Java. So here Java includes some of the features of C as well as C++. And familiarity is another remarkable feature of Java. That means Java make use of some of the familiar concepts of C program as well as C++. That means Java program is going to adapt the features of C as well as C++ programming language. Another feature here is multi-threaded and interactive. So dear student, the another beauty of Java programming is to carry multiple tasks simultaneously. For that, I have the concept called multi-thread. So what is thread here? Thread is nothing but the lightweight process. So what is process? Here process is nothing but program in a execution. Now by using Java program, I can able to manage multiple process, or I can able to run multiple process. So here multi-threaded features greatly improves the interactive performance of graphical applications. So dear student, this Java program is also used to develop graphical applications, and to run graphical applications simultaneously, I have the feature called multi-threaded. These are some of the very important features of Java program. Along with that, I have high performance. So here Java performance is impressive for an interpreted language. So here Java uses compiler as well as interpreter. So what is compiler here? Compiling means what? It is responsible for converting whole program together. Along with that, Java is also known as interpreted language. So interpreting means what? Execute one line at a time, give the result, then execute next line, produce the result, execute next line and produce the result. So execute one line at a time. So Java performance is impressive for an interpreted language. So when it is interpreter, then I have bytecode. Java architecture is also designed to reduce overhead during runtime. That means here Java is designed in such a way that it is going to reduce all the overhead. That means it is going to have strict compile time, data checking as well as error checking. So these are some of the feature of Java program. So dear student, please make a note here that this is very important topic, and this is sure question. That means you will have same question on your question paper. That means you can expect this topic in your question paper, and this is for 7 or 8 mark. So dear student, this is very important topic, and you can able to expect this question for your external exam. Now I have Java, that is how Java differs from C and C++. So dear student, when I talk about programming language, I have C, C++, Java, .NET, Python. All these things are example for high-level programming language. Now, I want to differentiate how Java is different from C as well as C++. So, here I have Java as well as C. Now, Java does not include the C unique statement, that is size of and type def. So, Java does not support two keywords, size of as well as type def. So, what is the meaning of size of? It's mainly used to get the size of the data or class. Okay, then type def. To create my own data type, I'm going to use type def. Now, Java does not contain the data type like struct and union. So, dear student, here C program supports two features called struct and union. That means user want to create their own data types. For that, C supports struct and union. By using these two keywords, user can able to create their own data types. Now, Java does not define the type modifier, keywords, auto, extern, register, signed and unsigned. So, dear student, when we talk about type of the data, we have auto, extern, register, signed and unsigned. But these all keywords are supported by the C program, but not in Java. Java does not support an explicit pointer type. If I consider C program, I have the concept called pointer. So what is pointer? Pointer holds the address of another variable, and C program supports explicit pointer type. But in Java, we does not have an explicit pointer type. So here Java does not have a preprocessor. So here in Java, I'm not going to include the word called preprocessor. When I say it is preprocessor, that is predefined processor, hash define and hash include hash if def. That means C supports hash define, hash include, hash if def. But in Java, we have import keyword. That means I'm going to import the classes as well as package. But in C, I am going to use preprocessor directives like hash define, hash include, hash if def. Now, Java requires that the function with no arguments must be declared. So, dear student, if I consider C program, I can able to use the function without no argument directly. So, if I write add opening and closing parenthesis in C program, then it indicates that this particular function is not going to have any argument. But in Java, I want to define manually. For example, add void. So here I'm going to use the keyword called void to indicate that it's not going to have any argument. Java adds new operators such as instance of and this symbol. That means Java supports two operators, that is instance of and this symbol. Now, Java adds labeled break and continue statement. So, here Java includes labeled break statement as well as continue statement. Along with that, Java is going to add many features which is required for object-oriented programming. So, these are some of the difference between Java as well as C. Now, let's see some of the difference between Java as well as C++. So, here Java does not support operator overloading. So, dear student, if I consider C++ programming language, then we have the concept called operator overloading. So, what is the meaning of operator overloading? That is, I can able to change the meaning of existing operators like plus, minus, etc. So here I can able to change the meaning of existing operator, and that is supported by C++ programming language. So here Java does not have template classes as in C++. So dear student, if I consider C++ programming language, then I can able to create my own template class. That means based on my requirement, I can able to create my own templates. But in Java, I cannot. Java does not support multiple inheritance of classes. So dear student, if I consider inheritance concept in C++ programming language, then I have the types like single inheritance, multi-level, hybrid, hierarchical, etc. But if I consider Java, in Java, I does not have multiple inheritance. That means I'm not able to create multiple inheritance in Java. But I can able to create multiple inheritance by using interface. So here, suppose if I want to create multiple inheritance in Java, then I'm going to use the concept called interface. I'm going to use the concept called interface. And Java does not support global variables. So dear student, please make a note here. In Java, I does not have any global variable declaration section. Java does not use a pointer. That means in Java, I'm not going to have the concept called pointer. Now, Java has replaced the destructor function with a finalizer function. So dear student, in C++ program, I'm going to have the concept called constructor. And this constructor is mainly used to initialize the object. So once I initialize the object, then the memory is created for that object. Now I want to destroy that object as well as memory. For that, I'm going to use destructor in C++. But if I consider Java, in Java, I have the constructor. But to release the object and memory, I don't have any destructor. Then what is the solution? To release memory as well as object, for that, I'm going to have the concept called finalize. That is finalize function. And if I consider Java program, I does not have any header files. That means I'm not going to write hash include stdio.h or hash include iostream.h or hash include conio.h, etc. So here I'm going to use import java dot util dot star semicolon. So here instead of header file, I'm going to use this statement called import. That means I'm going to import classes as well as methods as well as packages in my program. So these are the some of the difference between Java and C++. Anyway, dear student, in my today's session, I started with Java evolution. Along with that, I have covered the features of Java. Along with that, I have covered the difference between Java and C, Java and C++. So, dear student, in my next session, I'm going to deal with Java and internet. Along with that, I'm going to deal with Java and World Wide Web. Along with that, I'm going to deal with web browsers as well as Java environment. Anyway, dear students, let's meet in the next session with more information about Java programming. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.